So I've been thinking a lot lately about the story of Jesus and the great catch of fish. And one of the things that I'm taking away is this idea that Jesus asks us to follow him in a series of small steps of faith. Now, you might not get that idea from an initial reading of the story. As a matter of fact, most of the people that I have heard teach on this story teach it as though these fishermen had never seen or heard of Jesus before, and he shows up one day and just says, "Follow me," and they drop everything that they have and just follow this guy that they've never seen or met before. But I don't know about you, but if some dude shows up in my life and says, "Hey, follow me," I'm not budging. I've got a bunch of questions first, like, who are you? What do you want with me? And where are you going that you want me to follow you? And so we see in this story also that this is not the first time that these fishermen have been exposed to Jesus. In the chapter before, we see that Jesus had actually spent time in Peter's house. And Peter had had the opportunity to see Jesus heal his mother in law. And it looks like Peter and his friends had had the opportunity to hear Jesus speak in their synagogue. And we know that Jesus had been teaching and healing people in that area for some time. So they had been exposed to Jesus before. And even on this day of the great catch of fish, Jesus doesn't just show up and say, "Hey, everybody, drop what you have and follow me." But instead, he gives them a series of smaller steps of faith. First, he says, "Can I borrow your boat?" So they say, "Okay, Jesus, we can trust you with our boat." And so Jesus teaches from their boat. And then he lets them get to know him a little bit. They hear his teaching. They see him minister up close. And then after he's done teaching, he says, "Set out to the deep part of the lake." And then finally he says, "Let your nets down for this great catch of fish." And after they see Jesus be faithful in all of these smaller steps of faith, Jesus makes his biggest ask. He says, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." Now, make no mistake about it, this is a big ask. He's saying, leave everything you know, leave your nets, leave your livelihood, take a risk, and follow me. But after a series of smaller tests in faith and a series of seeing Jesus be faithful, they're ready to respond to the big ask. And God works in a similar way in our lives. I mean, on the first day that we come to Jesus, he doesn't come to us with this big, long list of all of the faith challenges that we're going to face in our lives and say, "Hey, have at it." Instead, he gives us one or two challenges at a time, and he shows himself faithful in our lives because God is gradually trying to build our faith, build our trust, build our obedience until we become strong for every faith challenge that will come into our lives. Following Jesus, it's not always about a leap of faith. Sometimes it's about taking the next small step of faith.